What the criticism of you is that you are playing on fears that people have.
No,
and
I'm
you're
playing
stoking.
on common sense. No, I'm not playing on fears. I don't want to play on fears. I understand the whole world, and I understand. And I have Muslim friends who are great people. And by the way, they tell me there's a big problem. I'm not playing on fears. I'm playing on common sense.
Donald Trump is adamantly opposed to letting refugees into the country and made even more waves with his answer to this question.
Should there be a database system that tracks the Muslims here in this country?
There should be a lot of systems beyond database. I mean, we should have a lot of systems. And today you can do it. But right now we have to have a border, we have to have strength, we have to have a wall, and we cannot let what's happening to this country happen.
But that's something your White House would like to implement.
Oh, I would certainly implement that.
That set off a firestorm among his critics. Hillary Clinton tweeted, "This is shocking rhetoric. It should be denounced by all seeking to lead this country." And Jeb Bush said this.
You talk about closing mosques, you talk about registering people, and that's just wrong. I don't care about campaigns. It's not a question of toughness. Yeah. It's manipulating people's angst and their fears. That's not strength. Right. That's weakness.
And this afternoon, Trump fixed his remarks, saying in the tweet, he suggested that he didn't say it was a database. A reporter said it, but he said we must have a watch list to protect America.
That right, he said, in terms of making a database, reminds so many people of Nazi Germany. What he is saying in terms of closing mosques is in direct violation of freedom of religion in this country.
I want surveillance of certain mosques, okay? If that's okay. I want surveillance. And you know what? We've had it before and we'll have it again. Hey, I watched when the World Trade Center came tumbling down. And I watched in Jersey City, New Jersey, where thousands and thousands of people were cheering as that building was coming down. Thousands of people were cheering.
So no videotape about, thousands of people celebrating doesn't exist. And we really looked everywhere. I mean, it's just not there. Where you get into trouble, with all due respect, of course, is what you give a speech and you say things like, I saw thousands, and there weren't thousands. Now,
But you don't know that there weren't, Bill.
You implied there may be a sinister reason for him not engaging ISIS more aggressively. You want to define that further?
I can't define it. I mean, nobody knows what's going on. Nobody knows why he doesn't have more anger, why he doesn't have more competitive zeal. He's a competitive person. Why doesn't he have more competitive zeal to knock them out, Bill? I mean, look at what's going on. Look at what's happening. ISIS is honoring President Obama. He is the founder of ISIS. He's the founder of ISIS, okay? He's the founder. He founded ISIS. And I would say the co-founder would be crooked Hillary Clinton. Co-founder, crooked Hillary Clinton. We have gangs roaming the street, and in many cases, they're illegally here, illegal immigrants, and they have guns, and they shoot people. When Mexico sends its people, they're not sending their best. They're not sending you. They're not sending you. They're sending people that have lots of problems, and they're bringing those problems with us. They're bringing drugs. They're bringing crime. They're rapists. I will build a great, great wall on our southern border, and I will have Mexico pay for that wall. Mark my words. Let me explain. Somebody hits us with a nuke. ISIS. You wouldn't fight back with a nuke?
No, to drop a nuclear weapon to a community of people.
But you can't say. First of all, you don't want to say take everything off the table.
No, just
you're
nuclear.
a bad negotiator if you do
just
that.
Nuclear.
Look, nuclear should be off the table. But would there be a time when it could be used? Possibly.
Okay. Can you tell the Middle East we're not using a nuclear weapon
I would
on anybody?
never say that. I would never take any of my cards off the table.
How about Europe? We won't use it in Europe.
I'm not going to take it off the table.
You might use it in Europe?
No, I don't think so. But
several months ago, a foreign policy expert on the international level went to advise Donald Trump, and 3 times he asked about the use of nuclear weapons. 3 times he asked, at one point, if we have them, why can't we use them?
You also said, though, that you might support Japan and South Korea developing nuclear weapons of their own. Isn't that completely contradictory?
No, not at all. Look, North Korea has nuclear weapons, and he doesn't have a carrier yet, but he's got nuclear weapons. He soon will have. At some point, we have to say, you know what? We're better off if Japan protects itself against this maniac in North Korea. We're better off, frankly, if South Korea is going to start to protect itself. Here's the thing. With Japan, they have to pay us, or we have to let them protect themselves.
But if you say to Japan, yes, it's fine, you get nuclear weapons, South Korea, you as well, and Saudi Arabia says we want them too.
Can I be honest with you? It's going to happen anyway. It's going to happen anyway. It's only a question of time. They're going to start having
them. You would rule in the possibility of using nuclear weapons against ISIS?
Well, I'm never going to rule anything out.
Right.
And I wouldn't want to say, even if I felt it wasn't going, I wouldn't want to tell you that, because at a minimum, I want them to think maybe we would use it.
It looks like the love affair between Donald Trump and North Korea is hotting up. An editorial in the state-run DPRK Today praised the presumptive Republican nominee, calling him a wise politician and a prescient presidential candidate. The piece went on to say that Donald Trump was the right president for Americans and that he wasn't a screwy or ignorant candidate. Although the newspaper isn't the official mouthpiece for the North Korean government, it is widely thought to relay what dictator Kim Jong-un thinks. The editorial also praised Trump for saying he would remove U.S. troops from the Korean peninsula.
We have evil that lurks around the corner without the uniforms. Ours is harder, because the people that we're going against, they don't wear uniforms. They're sneaky, dirty rats, and they blow people up in a shopping center, and they blow people up in a church.
We must protect our borders from the ravages of other countries making our products, stealing our companies, and destroying our jobs.
In addition to building that wall, the president also vowing today to strip federal funding from so-called sanctuary cities that shield undocumented immigrants, triple the number of ICE agents, and add thousands more Border Patrol agents.
Beginning today, the United States of America gets back control of its borders, gets back its borders.
No specifics on how to pay for that wall, but President Trump putting on notice millions of undocumented immigrants, including those who have been charged with a crime even if they've not been convicted.
We are going to get the bad ones out. The criminals and the drug deals and gangs and gang members and cartel leaders. The day is over when they can stay in our country and wreak havoc.
Protests tonight in New York and by the White House, and sanctuary cities firing back.
And this city will not be bullied by this administration into abandoning our core values, and we believe we have the rule of law and the courts on our side.
Well, we're already seeing the consequences of President Trump's executive order to suspend immigration from Muslim-majority countries. 7 migrants that were supposed to be on a flight from Cairo to New York City were stopped from getting on the plane. 6 of them are from Iraq, 1 is from Yemen. The aim of President Trump's order is to limit the rise of Islamic extremism. But the move has already drawn sharp criticism from human rights groups. We're getting reports of other refugees also detained at other U.S. airports. What are you hearing about the legal fallout right now?
Well, all of this, Rena, appears to be building. Those are just a few early examples of President Trump's executive order being implemented. This ban on refugees from a series of nations being abided by certain airlines and, of course, the U.S. Department of Homeland Security. We're also seeing the first legal challenge of this order. You mentioned those 2 Iraqi refugees. They are being detained at New York's JFK airport. Their lawyers are trying to get them out. In reports on the New York Times, it said that the Customs and Border Control agents, when the lawyers said, "Who do we speak to?" responded and said, "Well, speak to Mr. Trump." They filed for a certification that allows a class action certification, which would allow other refugees also being either detained detained by the time they get to the U.S. or prevented entry en route from joining what could be a class action lawsuit. This is the first time this type of law has been implemented.
Build that wall! Build that wall!